All right, welcome back. So in this one, we're going to go ahead and shadow the face and talk about that. I've drawn this simplified, stylized face. You can download it, work along, or draw your own. And I just want to talk about some of the things that go into shadowing a face like this. So first off, we're going to take and again pick an angle of the light source. So we'll do something like this. So there's our dimensional arrow. And then just to speed things up in this particular one, I'll actually introduce another layer and block this in with a tone. So I find this to be a helpful way to hurry up and get some of these ideas in rather quickly. So we're going to cast a big shadow from the nose. And this is from the top left down, so that shadow will carry over through here, I would imagine. A little bit of shadow from that wrinkle. We're also going to block in some of this side, I would say. And since this is a more stylized sort of character, I'm going to probably go a little bit more angular with the shadows. So something I would recommend too for this is that when you are learning, trying to get better at this stuff, lean into the oversimplifications, so stylizations and simplified shapes. And that applies to shadows, that applies to your drawings, everything. And then over time, as you want to refine and get into more complex concepts, you can, but generally simplifications will make your life a lot easier. Get the ball rolling, basically. So I'll probably bring this shadow even further over. Now, I might do some negative line making with details like the glasses, but for now I'm just going to look past that. Probably a little bit on the side plane. So another thing to think about when you're doing this is what are the major planes. So if the light's coming down this way and hitting, say, the nose, it's possible we'd get a little bit of shadow, maybe even some edge lighting to the, that bottom plane of the nose. We could probably block it in, but it's pretty close. I would say we probably could. So I'm going to leave it for now, but again, that's something I might edit back in the other direction as we move forward. So a lot of this I do check as I go. I'm just kind of placing it, staring at it for a bit, working on something else, coming back with fresh eyes, and it's usually the best way to figure these things out, I've found. So drop shadow from this big gnarly mustache. The top lip would be in shadow anyways. So again, thinking about the plane changes that are facing away from the light. And obviously, if you really want to push the style of something like this, you can, go kind of crazy with the dramatizations of individual features as well. Like if I really wanted to make this chin look pretty pronounced, I could put this weird shaped shadow in there, right? It's not something I particularly want to do, but again, these are ideas that you can think about when you start to place this in here. Nice big shadow, obviously under here, because the light's way up here pressing down. So we're going to get a nice heavy shadow from under the head there against the neck. Probably a little bit from the collar. You definitely get a little bit over here and under here. And the hair, I would still use these bits of separation with the shadow, even though the light source, it's not that the light source is actually right at this very spot. It's at that very angle. So hopefully you get that. I just couldn't draw it way off the page. But at the same time, I'm still going to think about, as I move this way towards the light, that I'm going to do less larger pockets in the hair, maybe move down to strands. So I could start heavier through here, and then as I work up here, go into strands. And that's a reoccurring thing you could do. You could do that with the eyebrows. I don't think I'm going to fill these in real heavy. I think I'll keep them more stylized. But it's the same concept with, you know, kind of big to small shapes all over the place. You could do same thing here, block the underneath in more heavily, some heavier pockets to create a sense of volume to the hair, but then as you move towards the light, you know, maybe thinner. Not that you wouldn't create any pockets of shadow, just maybe a little bit less, and that gives you that sense that you're kind of, you know, wrapping around towards the light. Wrinkles over here, some shadows off the eye folds. You could do some shadows off the lenses as well. Here it would probably just kind of block in together. But right here you'd get a little bit of separation and some details from that. And then from here I would just finish drawing in some of the smaller details. Just little wrinkles through the brow area. Maybe if I want any more wrinkles over here. So, you know, again, I would just bring this together with rendering. So now, you know, you can see like that it's pretty messy, but it's an idea. It's a, you know, it's a way to level up to the next set of ideas, basically, or way to like kind of relay the next bit of information. So we can take this now and we could start to, you know, beef up some of the shapes. You know, we can add to it a little bit more as we go. Oh, so there'd definitely be one right here on the side of that wrinkle. But now we would just clean it up. So we'll go ahead and stop right here. We're going to go to the next lesson, draw another version. We'll get a couple more of these in, then we'll ink them and talk more about that process. So with that, let's move on.